Welcome back. Hope you guys had a good holiday season if you were doing that sort of thing. Let's get into it. 1.3 possibly. Hu Tao coming in. Very interesting looking kit for what we know right now. Let's talk about her. She is going to be a 5-star base Pyro Polearm character. Birthday on the 15th of July. But what is so interesting about her, if you haven't seen anything about her yet, look at this massive base HP. 15,552, a little bit more than the Geo Archon Lord Zhongli, but her base attack 106, so very low base attack, extremely high HP, extremely high defense 876, which I do believe is like 9, a little bit higher anyway than Albedo, who just came out. She scales up with free crit hit damage, so that's a little interesting there as well. But does this look like a support to you? No, she's a damage dealer. She's a damage dealer. Yes, with that 106 base attack, she's a damage dealer. So Pyro Polearm character, normal attack talent here. We'll take a look at the ratios. We'll compare it to Zhongli. We'll compare it to Xingling, and she's going to be in between the two of them. So her level 8, 66%, 68%, 86%, 93%. Compare that to Zhongli, who, you know, a little bit lower on the scale. 52%, 53%, 65%, 73%. And then Zhongli is going to be 71%, 72%, 244%, and then 424%. So she's a little bit in between the two of them there. Now, obviously, guys, we don't know the time that it takes her to do her full 6-hit combination there. But notably, the thing that I want to point out here is Crescent Pike is a very powerful polearm. And they've kind of sort of shied even further away from the power of that polearm on a polearm character because she only has one double hit attack in her entire combo. It's on her 5th hit and it's a double hit attack, right? Xingling has a 2-hit attack on the 3rd and then a 4-hit attack on her 4th hit. And then Zhongli kind of shied away from that as well. He only has one multi-hit attack, but his 5th hit attack is a combination of 4 hits there. Hu Tao has a 1 multi-hit attack and it's only 2 hits there. So that's going to be something interesting that we're gonna have to look at when she does come out, depending on what the rest of her kit details there. Now that's going to be the Crescent Pike, which may or may not even be a good weapon for her. There are some considerations for a weapon in the works that, from what we've seen, I believe it's a 5-star polearm that gives HP percent and then gives you a damage bonus based on every 1% of your missing HP. So that's something that's probably going to be her weapon, but we don't know the base stats on it or anything other than that little special effect there. Now, this is going to be her elemental skill, the Rebirth Chaperone. This is going to be a very interesting thing, and it's going to harken back to the old Zhao, sort of Zhao's elemental burst. This is kind of like an upfront cost. So when you activate this skill, it's going to hit you for 30% of your max HP. But then it's going to give you an attack increase equal to anywhere from 3.8% at level 1 of your max HP up to level 10 is 5.25% of your max HP. And that's going to do a small amount of damage from the Blood Plume perfume. In addition to that, it's going to last. The Blood Plume perfume is going to be like a damage over time thing. That's going to last for 8 seconds there based on what we can see here. And the duration of the buff itself is going to be 10 seconds. And it's got a 15-second cooldown. So this is where your burst damage sort of window opens up, right? Because you're going to be building, you know, HP percent. She's got really high max HP. So you're going to be building HP percent, so HP percent sands. But you're still going to want a critical hit chance. You're still going to want critical hit damage. And then you're still going to want a goblet that's going to give you whatever sort of element or physical damage you're trying to build your Hu Tao for. So you're going to have that element goblet, you're going to have a critical hit chance or critical hit damage circlet, and then probably an HP percent sands here, and probably looking for more HP percent. We'll get into a little bit of the math at the end of the video behind why that's going to be a thing on the sands there, maybe some HP percent substats in addition to that. Now, the one thing that to take note of here is if you're trying to use her for a full-time DPS character, she only has a 66% uptime on this buff, right? The duration is 10 seconds and the cooldown is 15. So you activate it, you're gonna be doing damage for 10 seconds, and then there's gonna be 5 seconds left where you need to swap her out of the field, or you can just run around, whatever it is that you want to do, but you're gonna be losing that massive attack buff. You're gonna have that huge HP and that huge defense, but all your attacks gonna be going away because you're not gonna be building her for attack. So that's something to think about there if you're interested in this character's kit, because it is very interesting. And I do like that, you know, it's much more than just stand still and use one skill over and over. I do like this sort of like mental taxation of like, do I build or do I swap in? Do I swap out? Sort of thing like that. Now that's not it. We have the elemental burst here. God Soother. So this is going to have two different damages. Now, I don't have the full information here about, you can see it, skill damage, and then there's low HP skill damage. I don't know when that low HP skill damage procs. I would assume it's gonna be like 50%, right? HP or less, something like that. Something that you're gonna have to work towards. So what this does do, it does have a pretty high multiplier there. It's nothing like super crazy. You know, it's not gonna be, it's not a 1000% multiplier, but at level 8 here, it's a 501% multiplier if you have that low HP skill damage ready to go. If you're not at the low HP percentage threshold, it's gonna be a 400% multiplier. On top of that, it's going to regenerate some of your HP. So if you're in the low HP percentage threshold, it's gonna regenerate more HP. So at level 8, it's 12.3% of your max HP. If you're not at that low HP percent threshold, it's gonna give you 9.71% max HP. It's got a very low cooldown of 15 seconds, but a medium energy cost of 60 energy for you guys to get in there. Now, her talents, as far as we know right now, take diligence books, but remind yourselves, guys, this could change. This is, you know, in there, it's early access, basically. Her passive, we only have one of her ascensions right now, when Hu Tao's HP is equal to or less than 50%, which is where I got that number of the low HP percentage passive for her elemental burst. That's probably why it's going to be 50% there as well. Her pyro damage is increased by 25%. Remember, her pyro damage is going to come from her elemental burst and her elemental skill. So from what we know right now, we know we want to build HP percent, and we know that she wants to be below 50% HP. Now, we don't know any of her constellations or anything like that. Obviously, one of the constellations can give you 3 levels of her elemental skill, and one of them will give you 3 levels of your elemental burst. So let's play this game of temper your expectations, as always, when we're talking about new characters. I've seen a lot of people out there being like, she's gonna be the greatest character. She's gonna have 40, 50,000 HP. She's gonna do all the damage in the world, guys. It's gonna be insane. She's got a huge HP base. That's true. You could do that if you wanted to, but you're gonna be sacrificing all your elemental damage. You're gonna be sacrificing your critical hit chance. You're gonna be sacrificing your critical hit damage. And she's a damage dealer from what we see first and foremost. And that is not what you want to be doing there. Lower expectations. HP percent on your artifacts, guys, has the same efficiency as attack percent. So you can see if you were to roll an HP percent main stat artifact here, you get 46%. If you were to roll a main stat attack percent artifact, 46% as well. This also holds true for substats. So HP is not like defense, even though it is a defensive stat. As you can see, defense, you get more defense as a substat roll or as a main stat roll than you would either attack percent or HP percent. In order to get to the magical 50,000 HP, you would need a ton of HP percent to get the 50,000 HP. Well, her base is 15k, so 100% HP gets you another 15k. So if you had 200% HP in main stat slash substat, you still wouldn't hit 50k. You'd hit 45k. You actually hit 48k and change because of the flat HP on the artifact. But that's going to be main stat HP in every slot, substat HP in every slot. You're gonna have no critical hit chance, no critical hit damage, nothing like that. I mapped that out a little bit behind the scenes, and it's gonna be if you get like 100-ish%, 80-ish% in total HP, or between like the HP sands and maybe some HP substats, you're gonna be looking at like 30,000 HP in stats there. 30-ish thousand HP in stats, 33, 35k, depending on your luck, which is gonna be fine. Now, the other thing we want to talk about here is her base attack and attack percent versus HP percent on her Rebirth Chaperone. Now, this looks cool. 5.52% of your HP. That's nice. But if we go back to what we talked about 2 seconds ago with the trade-off between how much attack percent you can get versus how much HP percent you can get, we can see that it's the same, right? RNG will give you different artifacts. You're going to aim for certain things, and one of them is going to be better than the other one by mathematics. But it's not like you're going to be getting bonus HP percent on your artifacts. So what does this mean for us? It means if we take a look at her base HP, 15,552. Her base attack is terrible, 106. But the base attack for your weapon's probably pretty decent there, right? 550 attack, somewhere around there after you get your weapon to level 90. Which means if you have 500, let's just say, well, 500, we'll have like 600 attack. 600 attack. Probably like 650, more or less. So if you had 650 attack, 10% attack from like a substat roll would give you 65 attack, because 10% of 650 is 65. 10% HP would give you 1,500 HP, which is very nice, right? 1,500 HP. And then you would get 5% of that 1,500 HP. From that 10% extra HP at level 10 with the 5.25% HP to attack percent conversion, that's going to net you 75 attacks. So that's going to be a little bit higher there. But if you're lower level, like say you're level 1, 2, 3, 4 talent, a level 1 talent, out of that bonus 1,500 HP you got from 10% HP substat, you're going to get 3.87% of that added to your attack. And that's going to give you 58 attacks. So it's actually worse than stacking attack. But what you're going to want to do, you're going to have to level this elemental skill up for her from what we know right now. And you're going to stack HP percent. And that's going to give you higher attack overall than just going in and stacking attack percent. But you're going to have that window of choice where you're in and out, in and out, in and out of combat. So keep that in mind as well. I do think she's cool. I do think she's unique. But remember what we just said. We just got done talking about it. Even with her terrible base attack, stacking HP percent versus stacking attack, that stacking attack is just slightly worse than stacking HP percent from her mathematically. And you don't get extra HP percent from your artifacts compared to if you were trying to build another damage dealer with attack percent artifact. So if you had another character who had 300 base attack and you give them a 550 attack weapon, then they're going to be getting, 300 plus 550, that's 850 base attack. And then all of a sudden 10% attack on them is giving them 85 attack overall. And oops, they can start building up their attack even better. But she is going to be cool there. She's just going to get a lot of extra attack here because that base HP percent 1552, that's a lot of free attack. And then the bonus HP on top of that's going to give you a little bit more over time there. So she does look pretty cool right now. We'll have to see what her constellations do in the future. That's going to be Hu Tao. Remember, she's going to have a polearm. That's probably going to be the thing that's going to set her up is the polearm, right? 1% bonus damage for every 1% missing HP. That's going to allow you to play more safely in the HP build because remember, it's per missing percent HP from what we know of right now. So you could have a maximum of 100 HP and be at 1 HP and get the 99% bonus. So you could have a maximum of 100,000 HP and be at 1,000 HP and get the 99% bonus there. So that's going to be another reason to build her for max HP, allow you to play safely, come in, use your elemental skill, do damage for 10 seconds, right? Lose that 30% HP, swap her out, do damage or something else with supports for 5 more seconds, and then swap her back in, use her elemental skill, drain yourself for another 30% of your max HP. That's going to drop you to 40% HP, and then do some damage. And then before your damage bonus ends, pop God Soother, get the lower percentage HP bonus, get the 50% extra attack from the spear that's not out yet, and get the 25% pyro damage bonus from her passive ascension, and then regenerate some of your HP, set you back up for success, and then swap her back out. So that's probably what she's going to be looking like in the Genshin Impact. We don't know all of her information though, guys. I think she's gonna be pretty cool. I do think a lot of the powers of her have been like super overstated, where she's gonna have 9 million HP and stuff like that. But if you want to see more stuff Genshin Impact content creator related, come join the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.